Hey guys, and welcome back to Girl Talks Geek. It's Nikki here, and today I have a very special his and her episode. We're gonna chat about our favorite movies. This is my husband, Will. I'm so excited he's here. So let's get into it. So for today's video, we're gonna share our top 3 favorite romantic movies. We're gonna tell you why we love them, and just be prepared that they're very likely gonna be completely opposite of each other because we are two entirely different people. So with that, we'll start with our third pick, then go to our second and first, and then we'll throw in some honorable mentions because there's so many good ones out there. So
this isn't necessarily best love story of all time. This is just like our favorite romance.
Right.
Movies,
it's like what resonated with you the most for whatever reason.
Okay.
Top 3. We'll throw in some honorable mentions, and yeah. So do you want to start since you're here on the channel? Your debut.
Okay. Okay. So my number 3 will be. I'm gonna do a softball one for you here.
Okay.
One of my favorite movies, for whatever reason, is Friends with Benefits. Not my favorite movie. I should say one of my favorite romance movies.
Yeah.
There's a ton wrong with it when it comes to the plot. Like, there's so many storylines that are just, they're not coming together, and there's so much that's forced in there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis ended up having a really, really fun relationship.
Who wouldn't have a fun relationship with Justin Timberlake? Or Mila Kunis? Like, if you step behind them,
Yeah, I
I feel
think
like
that's
any
fair.
counter actor would just be like...
They made a great couple.
Yeah, they were good. They were matched.
So, yeah, I would say that they were a lot of fun. I had a lot of problems with the movie, but if I just took a step back to just kind of enjoy a relationship, that is one where by the end of the movie I was rooting for them. I wanted to see them do cool stuff. So that would be my number 3.
I don't have any argument with that. I feel like that's such a good one just because you feel good about it throughout. Like, you enjoy it even though it may have flaws. Like, I didn't notice any, but even though it has flaws, you're not aware of them because you're enjoying the movie so much. So at least for me, I was like, I don't see anything wrong in this movie. It's a lot of fun. Okay, my number 3 might come as a little bit of a surprise because it's a little bit uncharacteristic, but when I thought about it, I felt like I had to put this in at number 3. I'm doing 500 Days of Summer as my number 3.
What?
I am.
You hated that movie so bad.
I didn't hate the movie. I hated Summer. And once I separated myself from the fact that, like, how much I hate Summer in that movie, just for everything that she did, I felt like it was a movie that was just like, you know what? Love sucks sometimes. Like, it is just like, I don't know.
So your favorite love story is love story that love sucks?
Well, here's the thing, though. It's like, it's this thing, and it's awful, and you're like, why would anyone ever do it? And then it ends on this note of, like, hey, like, there's hope, and there's, like, you know, that new girl, and it feels like you could turn over a new leaf tomorrow, and no matter what, you could find the right person and have, like, your fairy tale.
I like that movie. It was a good movie. I
feel like it's the ending that really sealed it for me to be like, the most unexpected fairy tale, I feel like, is kind of...
Who am I to judge?
Okay, give me your number 2. Let's see where you're going.
All right, so it all goes downhill from here as far as I'm sure what you're concerned. My number 2 would be Braveheart. Braveheart is just a super epic story, and at the end of the day, it all starts because they end up killing William Wallace's wife, Murren. So at the very beginning, like, his dad dies, like, a lot of people die, and she gives him the little flower. They end up falling in love later on. He said that he always knew that it was her. They get married in secret, and then she ends up getting killed, right? Like, defending herself, essentially, right? They're defending her. She ends up dying, and the result of that, the result of his love and the things that happen end up being, like, end up changing history, right? In real life. So that, to me, is just, if that doesn't scream, like, love out of your heart, I don't know what does.
I think a lot of things scream love to me except for that. I saw that movie, and one, I don't even remember it resonating with me enough to remember it. But I remember thinking, I don't even care if she dies because he got remarried. So he
doesn't get remarried.
He meets that other girl. There's another girl.
But they don't get married.
Yeah, but he's like, like, yeah, that happened. Like, swipe left, swipe right.
But who does he see when he's dying? In his final moments,
I didn't
he goes
even
back
remember
and he sees
in
her.
detail.
Yeah, they're like, you know,
so then
gutting him and like ripping out his guts.
So he's loving that second girl.
And then he looks out into the audience and he sees her like walking by, and it's just like, yep, all for love.
I don't know. So he's loving that second girl then, and then she's gonna die thinking of him, and he's thinking about some other girl, and now it's just like
most romantic movie ever.
Afterlife love triangle.
All right, one up me. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Me Before You. It's a book first, and I haven't read the book, and I really want to, but I think it just touched on a lot of points I didn't expect it to. Like, we know the story. He's injured. He's trying to get his, like, spunk for life back. And she does that for him. But I feel like even her story, her backstory of, like, feeling trapped by the weight of her family and, like, trying to decide between, like, pursuing her own dreams and, like, going to live her own life. I feel like he saves her in that way. And that was just, like, an unexpected twist that, like, they're in love. And, yeah, like, that's great, but I feel like they did for each other something that changed both of their lives, and at the end they don't even end up together, and I think that has to be just like...
Because he would rather die than stay with her, right?
No,
if I remember correct?
I think because his life was not what it was, and I think it was so authentic for him to not be with her. Like, if he would have stuck around, I think he would not have been, like, living his truth.
Spoiler alert.
It's late. If you haven't seen it by now, come on. If you haven't seen it by now. So that's for me. I just feel like it was a story where they didn't end up together, and it was like the perfect ending. It's because they both became who they needed to become, and like, I don't know. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, I need to love my life better. I need to like do this and do that. So I feel like it's a love story that impacts you in so many ways outside of just like romantic love. Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
All right, my number 1. You ready for this?
Okay.
I know your favorite movie of all time. My favorite love movie of all time. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is like, you can't get any more romantic than that. You have 2 people who try their hardest to basically forget about each other and remove each other from their lives.
I wish I could forget about them instead. I wish.
And they can't. And like the way that they explore their relationship and all the moments that they kind of remember and the things that they did for one another. Like it's all the little moments, right? The like laying on the ice and all that kind of stuff. And on top of that, it was just a phenomenal movie. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. But I would definitely say that is probably the most romantic movie that I've ever seen. If I had to point someone to romance, I would point him to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, my number 1.
I don't even know where to begin with how much I disagree with that. Like, I feel like they're overgrown emo teenagers who, like, just can't get it together. And then the whole movie, like, it's not... I don't know. It's just not me. I don't get it. Like, I just didn't know why he was a giant baby.
I will say that I had to watch that movie 2 times before I could actually say, oh, I really do like this movie. The first time I saw it, like, it kind of took me aback. I didn't know what to think. I watched it a second time, and I was like, oh, this movie's amazing. And every single time I watch it since then, I've loved it even more.
I feel like, so I fell asleep twice during those 2 times. But I just feel like it's so weird to say because I don't say this, and I feel like, you know, at every age you can experience things, but I feel like they were too old to experience the struggles that they were struggling with. I felt it was like something that was a lot more appropriate to like an adolescent or a young adult. And I feel like if they were gonna have those types of problems, they should have had them at a different level and in a different, just like a different way, like an amplified way or a new take because they're older. So they didn't have to necessarily be cast younger, but I feel like the problems should have felt more mature or more evolved because I felt like they were still really sloppy. Like, they just didn't feel like adults dealing with this. It felt like kids. It felt like a kid situation with a cast of adults. And it just didn't resonate with me.
So what's your number 1?
My number 1, it's something I watched a bazillion times, especially growing up. I just want to say it's rated really well on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't know that until recently. But my number 1 is Ever After. So it's basically a Cinderella story, but I feel like that movie made me believe that that's exactly how Cinderella would happen if Cinderella was like a real person and that's what happened. And I love that I just love how it always like turns out well, but it doesn't turn out like, I don't know, Disney movie well. It's like she had to go through some stuff. She grew, she spoke her mind, she met this guy, like she was dealing with the family stuff. And there's something about that movie that it honestly feels like, well, in some ways, it almost feels like looking back at history because you're taking a look back. There's some characters in there like Da Vinci has a role in there. I mean, it's not historical in any way, but it has that feeling where it just like feels grounded. It's not trying to be a Disney fairy tale. It's like an authentic Cinderella retelling, and I love it. And she goes by Nicole for a lot of the movie, which was her mom's name, and I don't know. When you're like 12, that really means a lot to you.
I gotta be honest, I don't even know if I've ever seen that movie.
Oh my gosh, it's so good, you guys. Like, if you haven't, it's like an older movie. It's like a 90s movie, but I love like just being a Renaissance band, like seeing the costumes, seeing the lifestyle. Like if someone built an Ever After set that I could go live at for a while, that would be amazing. So that has to be my number one.
I like the Renaissance.
That's it. That's all that you like. So we have some top favorites, but now I think we gotta mention our runner-ups, because I feel like it's always the perfect time for a romantic or rom-com movie, because, I don't know, that's my favorite to watch in general. So let's start throwing out some other good ones in case you guys need some ideas when you're hanging out at home.
Tristan and Isolde. I really like that movie.
Oh, no.
It goes back to like castles and all that kind of stuff. And I think it shows, like, I have a tendency to think that the funnest love movies are movies, the funnest of any movies are things where they're really complicated, and their relationship was really complicated.
Yeah.
Their honor got in the way of a lot of what the relationship
I feel like she got in the way.
She got in the way, but it's kind of cool because, so let's break it down for one moment, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you have his love for her,
yeah.
right? And you have his love for the person who like raised him and brought him up.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like two different ways of peeling apart love. They're very different, granted.
Yeah.
But to be able to see those pull him apart and like the decisions that he had to make for that,
Yeah.
right? And then for her to witness what's going on, and then like for her to have to make decisions. That's really interesting love stories. On a side note, that's also why I really like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Because you have Joel and Clementine who are
Yeah.
trying to forget about each other. You have Patrick, I believe his name, right? The guy who's played by Elijah Wood,
Yeah.
right? Who's trying to fake the love based off of what Joel did, and he can't even recreate that. So you're starting to like look at all the love through all these different angles and lenses that all help you with one big argument. Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind, Tristan and Isolde.
I like Tristan and Isolde because of the time period. That's kind of like an ever after thing. My problem is I feel like they were like two good discussions away from everyone living happily ever after. Like even at the end when his like pseudo dad was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I was like, "Why didn't you? Like why didn't you tell him, Tristan?" Like considering that he was willing to sneak behind his back, bang his new wife, like would it have been that much harder to just say, "Here's what happened. I didn't know it was her." And then again, her later at that point, before they even get there, to run off, and she decided no, and then she wants to again start up. So I felt like literally two conversations in that movie could have led everyone to living a better life. So I feel like that's where I struggle with that movie. But I love the setting, I love the actors. I think everyone did a great job on that movie. I just feel like story wise, it's almost like a plot hole because it's like, why didn't you fly the birds to Mordor? It's like kind of like that for me when it comes to Tristan and Isolde. Just had that two hard conversations instead of having a hard life. And then mine for me, I think you'll probably agree, is I have to call out Hitch.
Yeah.
We've seen
That's
Hitch
fun.
a million times. It's so much fun to watch, and it's just, I don't know, it's a feel good. Like Will Smith when he's, I don't know, in his zone doing his rom-com, like you just like it. It's fun. Yeah.
That's a good movie. It's kind of like the Friends with Benefits for me. Like I could see it, I could see all the holes that are in it, but if I did want to watch like a romantic movie and not think about it too much, I would definitely like it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie.
Yay! We agree on one.
I'll give that one to you.
Okay, go. Anything else you want to throw out there?
I mean, there's some legendary ones, right? You got like Titanic. That is a good love story.
We could do a whole Titanic movie.
We'll save that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that would be it, based off of some of my personal favorites. Because I think if you wanted to try to find like best love movies of all time, it might be a very different
I feel like best lists are so irrelevant to me. It's like, did you like it or did you not? And that's how it
as we
like,
do
that's
a best
movie.
list.
No, what I mean is like, because we're giving explanations. That way they're like, oh, I understand. That movie's for me, or like, oh no, that movie is not for me. But I feel like the lists that are definitively saying this is the best movie, or like these are the best movies, like period, like lacking like if you like this or if you don't like this. if you yeah, God, we have to pay for that clip. I just want to throw out some other favorites. Most of mine are all like rom-coms, but like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, She's All That, Beauty and the Beast. I feel like
I mean, get behind Beauty and the Beast.
Right? It's really
good.
Story. I feel like I even love the cartoon still. After live action, I like the live action.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
No.
I mean, I'm gonna stop spoiling movies for people. But like, he's doing things for love. He's a bad guy who wants to be in love. It's romantic.
Maybe we'll put that on the maybe column. I feel like that's again its own video. Like we should do more.
All right.
But that's everything we have for you guys today. It was so much fun to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let us know whose side you're on, whose movie choices you were more aligned with. I'm curious to know. Also, let me know if Will should come back for another video. Like, let me know in the comments. I won't let him see. Let me know. I think we have a lot of fun ideas, and I'd love to have him come back. So let me know what you think. And don't forget to leave your favorite romantic movie in the comment section. Bye, guys.